Alright, we're looking at some UFO footage. I'm not sure if I think aliens exist, but if they do exist, I kind of think that some UFO sightings might be from the hillbilly alien theory. Because there's like, I listened to the Bananas podcast, and there's a comedian called Scotty Landis. I think it's Scotty, or it could be Kurt. I keep mixing them up sometimes. Either way, one of them suggested the hillbilly alien theory. Basically, aliens find a random thing, build it, and then take it for a joyride. Like, you know, sometimes you see weird motorized couches and stuff. It's basically one of that logic.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we once again tackle the age-old question, do aliens exist? To attempt to answer that question,
Hold on, I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit. It's a little loud for me.
Take a deep dive into the government's newly uncovered Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And in particular, we'll examine some recent video evidence that has emerged from the program, and it's good footage.
Is it some good stuff?
I think.
You got your little peepers on it?
Dare I say, is it undeniable?
I have to say this every single time we do an episode about aliens, but I do believe in aliens.
And I have to say this every time as well. He believes in aliens, but in a very boring way.
I just don't think they're bipedal. I think they're probably clouds or a little bacteria.
They're intelligent.
Do you think they have belly buttons?
Some of them
I'm not gonna play
might.
this game with you. I'm not. I refuse.
I just want to know.
I mean, odds are some of them might have belly buttons.
I know what you're trying to do right now.
I just want to know if you think they have belly buttons.
I'm opening the file. We're gonna get into it.
Didn't answer it.
In 2007, 3 senators, Ted Stevens, a Republican from Alaska, Daniel K. Inouye, a Democrat from Hawaii, and Harry Reid, a Democrat from Nevada, and the Senate Majority Leader at the time, worked to secure funding for a new secret but not classified government program to investigate reports of UFOs, or as they've been more recently dubbed, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Which I think is dumb accurate. It's a dumb
There are people
acronym.
crazier than me that have tarnished the reputation of UFOs to the point where they now have to rebrand it to UAPs. And even when I say UAPs, does that not sound military?
UAP sounds stupid.
Yeah, I guess people like you have sort of tarnished the, yeah, that makes sense.
Senator Reid's interest in the unexplained phenomena stemmed from a meeting with Nevada billionaire Robert Bigelow, who has stated that he is absolutely convinced aliens have visited Earth. Years after their meeting, Bigelow received a letter from a senior member of a federal national security agency with a PhD. According to Reid, the letter expressed interest in Bigelow's fascination with UFOs. The individual told Senator Reid after meeting with both him and Bigelow that studies should be done on the matter, and he created an outline for what should be covered in the study. It was then that Reid connected with fellow Senators Stevens and Inouye, both of whom had long been a part of the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee. The 3 met for what Reid described as, quote, one of the easiest meetings I ever had, end quote. Stevens' interest in UFOs stemmed from his time in the military. He said that he never reported seeing suspicious things for fear of damage it may cause to his reputation or career. To fund the project, Reid, Stevens, and Inouye decided to use black money, as Reid calls it, or black budget, as it's more commonly referred to, which is government money used for classified programs and projects. That way, the formation of the program would not be debated on the Senate floor. And just like that, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program was created in 2007. And why that's crazy is because, you know, as a society, we haven't seen the government even admit UFOs are real, and now we're learning that they have, essentially, we now know they were lying to us.
One of my big dreams is to work at a place like this where it's like secret, but the entrance to the place doesn't look like the place where you're going.
Oh, so you go behind like a bookshelf or something?
Yeah, or it's like a bagel shop and you walk to the counter and you're like, I'll have a sesame, and the person behind the counter just says like, we're all out of sesame. And then you have to say something like, love a sesame on a Tuesday. And then they're like, right this way, sir. And
I think it would be cleaner if you just had to order a specific order. Like, I'll take a bagel with lox and 2 chives.
Oh, 2 chives.
And they'll say, the cold brew's right over there. And you take the cold brew handle.
Cha-chunk. A big pneumatic tube comes down and you get sucked up.
You're sucked up and it has that great noise, like, In all, at least $22 million was spent on the project, with most of it going to Bigelow's company, Bigelow Aerospace. The company's underground Las Vegas complex would be home to the research it conducted for the program, while the program itself was operated out of the Pentagon. In 2010, military intelligence official Luis Elizondo took over the program. Elizondo was an experienced Department of Defense employee who worked on classified counterintelligence missions and operated with top-level security clearance. He claims that the program was so secretive that even some of those inside the Pentagon were unaware of its existence. The program's
That's
mission
kinda
was to
sus.
investigate detection, eyewitness sightings, and/or military video footage of unknown items, identify them, and then, according to Elizondo, quote, ascertain and determine if that information is a potential threat to national security, end quote. Anomalous aircraft
I
that
got
would
like
operate outside the normal laws of aerodynamics will be investigated. Elizondo describes aircrafts, quote, that don't have any obvious flight surfaces, any obvious forms of propulsion, and maneuvering in ways that include extreme maneuverability beyond, I would submit, the healthy G-forces of a human or anything biological, end quote. The information the program collected came mainly from military personnel, in particular, military pilots, who witnessed the bizarre
Yeah, they have
occurrences.
females looking to see
When you're
it.
in the military, you're probably got a lot of discipline. Probably not rattled by too much.
Yeah, they see planes fly by them every day, I'm imagining, for the past like 20 years of their life.
I see that all the time.
So they're up there in the air, they're seeing things move in ways that defy the laws of physics, things that would make their bodies implode if they were inside that vehicle. And they have footage of it. So I just don't know how you could look at that kind of
I
stuff.
can't wait to hear these folks holler. Are they hollering?
What, you think they're all pulled from some kind of rally or something? These are trained professionals. They're
Yeah, but you said they go nuts.
I
They go
mean-
crazy for these UADs.
I mean, to be fair, a military person did light himself on fire as a protest of the invasion of Palestine by Israel.
What are they called? UAPs? See, it's not catchy enough.
UAPs. It's not supposed to be catchy.
It's somewhat catchy.
If it gets catchy, then it starts to slip into the, I guess.
Start saying UAPs all the time. Let's make it just as crazy as UFOs. Yeah.
Those investigating the incidents were highly trained and qualified. According to Elizondo, quote, we had PhDs, we had CI people, we had trained intelligence officers and human case officers, pretty much a full range of talent. Most of us tend to be, by nature, skeptical, because we are in the field of intelligence and national security. But I think once you get into the data itself and the specifics regarding what we're actually seeing, we begin to realize that there may be something here, a little bit more than just what people think are drones or whatever people may chalk it up to be, end quote. He went on, quote, there's a lot of rigor and diligence that's placed in looking at these. We look and say, oh, that's XYZ, and the reason why it looks this way is because of ABC. But unfortunately, there are some other incidents that can't be explained. And what our job is to do is to figure out, really it's very simple, what is it and how does it work, end quote. The previous director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program created a briefing summary in 2009 on the program that stated, quote, what was once considered science fiction is now science fact, end quote.
That's a good quote.
That's ballsy.
That should
Yeah.
be on a t-shirt.
The logo should just be like an alien just giving the middle finger.
That seems like something he practiced in the mirror several times that morning.
Yeah,
And
he was probably
like,
way less cool about it. He was like, "This is science fiction, science fact."
the cadence was off.
That's gonna be good.
Nailed it. No, dial it back, dial it back. His wife walks in on him when he's practicing. God, yeah, God.
Yeah, we're knocking around here. It's a big day for me.
Yeah, I'm sure he delivered it with some kind of gravitas. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Even
maybe-
better if zero gravitas.
Gravitas.
Gravitas?
It's gravitas.
Gravitas?
Around the same time, promising discoveries were made by the program, and in an attempt to limit access to the information, Reed requested that it be given a special designation of, quote, Restricted Special Access Program, end quote, but his request was denied. The brief summary also stated that if some of the discovered technology were to be used against the U.S., we would have no way of defending
Oh
ourselves
yeah,
against
that'd be
it.
kind of bad.
According to Elizondo, the sightings often took place near nuclear facilities, be it power
Maybe
plants
that's
or ships.
curious.
The program investigated unidentified flying objects and metal alloys and other debris picked up from encounters. Elizondo said of the program and the objects investigated, quote, if you're asking my personal opinion from here, look, I've got to be honest with you. I don't know where it's from, but we're pretty sure it's not here. Now, what does that mean? It's out there. Whether or not it's Russian or Chinese inside, or little green men from Mars, or frankly your neighbor's dog, I wanted to purposely steer away from that because I wanted to focus on truly the raw science.
Yeah, that's good.
What were we seeing? And did it pose a threat to national security?
Yeah, that's good.
End quote.
Love it. This guy, he knows how to level with people.
You pepper in a couple times you saying, I'm in it for the science, and skeptics will just have a big old boner for that. They'll love it.
Yeah.
You'll have their full attention.
Yeah.
You got me.
I just don't think that there's another country so far ahead of us that they could like lap us like this.
Yeah.
Who made fidget spinners? Where'd those come from? That's probably U.S.
That's not tech.
Now that we've covered the genesis of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, let's get into a few of its many discoveries. We'll dissect 3 videos recently released by
Go
To the Stars
fast.
Academy of Arts and Science from the Department of Defense that are both exciting and, dare I say, unearthly. For the first video, dubbed
Gimbal.
little information has been released to the public. What we do know is that it is footage taken from a Navy FA-18 Super Hornet during an encounter with an unidentified object. However, there is audio capturing real military pilots' reactions to what they're seeing.
Remember that.
Drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My God. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Yeah, it was interesting when you see it just sort of rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That was merely to whet your appetite. Is your appetite wet now? Are you ready for some more?
Yeah, I'm excited for more videos. There's a good one.
The next video, known as Go Fast,
Oh
was
yeah,
released
Go
by the
Fast.
Department of Defense in March of 2018. What we know about Go Fast is that this video was taken in 2015 somewhere along the East Coast. The footage is also from a FA-18 Super Hornet and has audio of the pilots experiencing the encounter.
Roger. They're shooting Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Look at it fly.
Yeah, it would look like it was going very fast. It looks very small.
Yeah, I mean, it's from a distance.
Were they up very, very high and it was allegedly closer to the
Yeah.
water?
Yeah, maybe.
It was closer, and most people.
I mean, have you guys ever heard of the underwater UFO phenomenon? I think it's called the USO, unidentified submerged object.
Will have the same description, and that kind of looked like the other object, where they kind of look like Tic Tacs,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
flying little Tic Tacs, and once again, no signs of visible propulsion.
Wouldn't it be cool if aliens were really small?
Like
that big.
like a coffee cup.
Like a coffee cup.
Like if we were shooting this episode and something just hovered by our head right here.
Yeah, that'd be cool if they were real little. And then a cat like jumps up and grabs it and just...
Oh.
Now, onto the last and perhaps most compelling video titled Flare 1, also known as the Nimitz Incident. On November 14th, 2004, Commander David Fravor, a commanding officer of the VFA 41 Black Aces, and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate were told to go check out mysterious aircrafts that had been spotted multiple times over the past 2 weeks. Interviews and reports about the craft noted aerial feats that the US military was not capable of. Maneuvers such as dropping from more than 60,000
Whoa.
feet to just about 50 feet above water at supersonic speeds.
That's scary.
Then stopping abruptly and hovering in that position. As Fravor and Slate made their way to the aircrafts, Fravor says that he looked down at the ocean and saw a disturbance in the water that looked like boiling water
USO.
over something that just barely submerged. Above that, he noticed an oval-shaped hovering aircraft just 50 feet above the water, measuring about 40 feet in length, which he likened to a Tic Tac. The aircraft seemed to be moving irregularly over the water in all directions. Fravor started to descend in a circular motion toward the mysterious aircraft, but it began ascending. When he tried to go directly toward the object, it darted off. Quote, "It accelerated like nothing I've ever seen," end quote. The pilots were then instructed to make their way 60 miles to a meetup point known as the Cap Point. Moments later, the pilots were radioed. Quote, "Sir, you won't believe it, but that thing is at your Cap Point."
What?
End quote. The aircraft had reappeared in their radar. The 2 pilots were still over
Dude.
40 miles out from the point. The object had disappeared before the pilots were able to reach the meetup point.
This is a great
Man.
example of, they're being called out there to go it's not like they were just like doing something else and they saw the Tic Tac flying by.
Yeah,
like,
they were
what's
gonna-
Tic Tac doing
They're
here?
going to buy the Tic Tacs.
Someone called them and said, hey, we got Tic Tacs. We need you out here, stat.
Yeah.
They're like, we got a Tic Tac call. Let's go check out these Tic Tacs.
Well, they also asked them, do you guys have missiles on board in case they had to blow it out of the sky?
Oh.
These are some serious Tic Tacs. These are some tactical Tic Tacs. We need your missiles out here. So they get out there, they're hunting down Tic Tacs, and they don't bring better cameras.
But I
They
think
just got
that's
this dumb
alright.
thing.
It's in the moment. It's in
Yeah, I know, but and frankly, the camera that locks onto it, it's less impressive. Get a nice wide shot of that
God.
thing zipping past.
Upon his return to the USS Nimitz, Fravor became the butt of jokes as news of his encounter had made its
Aw,
way
come
around the
on.
ship. Fravor told another pilot about the incident, quote, I have no idea what I saw. It had no plumes, wings, or rotors, and outran our F-18s. I want to fly one, end quote.
Yeah,
Those
I don't
ranking
blame
higher
him.
than Fravor did not investigate the incident further. In
I mean, what could you
2017,
do?
Fravor recalled his experience saying, quote, I don't think I was a nut job as an officer in the Navy. I wasn't drunk. I don't do drugs. I got a good night's rest. It was a clear day. I think someone should have looked into it. Having talked to some of
Yeah.
the other folks, it's a big frustration that it's coming out now and wasn't discussed back in 2004.
Well, wasn't the war on terror happening at that point? I don't blame them because I think they had other priorities and priority.
Quote. Fravor spoke of the technology he witnessed saying, quote, this is revolutionary technology to be able to accelerate, go up and down. Think about the advances that would bring to mankind. What if it actually starts to get people to think outside the box, end quote.
Can you imagine seeing the ocean boil and then just having to, you get back, everyone's like, oh yeah, you saw the ocean boil? Oh, yeah, did you?
Oh my God.
And you're like,
I'll tell you what, if you're out there
"Oh,
and
ocean fucking boiled."
if you're out there and you see something extraordinary and you look around yourself and you see that you're the only person seeing this extraordinary feat, just know that you are going to be crazy from then on. That's what you're going to be labeled as. No one's ever going to believe you saw anything, and that is the most frustrating thing on earth.
Yeah,
And
best
on
keep
that
your
note,
mouth shut.
let's get into some theories as to what these pilots could have been seeing. There seems to be two camps. There are those very encouraged by these encounters and what they could mean for the existence of extraterrestrials. And then there are those that are not so convinced that they indicate anything. Let's start with the latter. The first theory is that perhaps these unexplained phenomena are simply unexplained happenings that don't specifically indicate anything, including aliens. MIT astrophysicist Sarah Seeger on Unknown Object Origin, quote, when people claim to observe truly unusual phenomena, sometimes it's worth investigating seriously. What people sometimes don't get about science is that we often have phenomena that remain unexplained, end quote.
Yeah.
It's also possible
As
that these
is.
encounters are of completely terrestrial origin. Another country could be creating and testing advanced technology that we are simply unaware of. An anonymous former congressional staffer claims this was a reason for forming the program in the first place, posing the question, quote, was this China or Russia trying to do something, or has some propulsion system we are not familiar with, end quote. Andrew Simeon, the director of the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute Center in Berkeley, says that after years of studying, we're still short on research indicating that aliens do exist. Quote, objective description of any phenomena should be backed up by compelling evidence, and despite many decades of reports of various UFO and abduction phenomena, we don't have much evidence. Moreover, astronomers spend their lives looking at the sky with a wide variety of telescopes and techniques, and we have never snapped a picture of an unexplained spaceship, end quote. And Neil deGrasse Tyson simply says, quote, call me when you have a dinner invite from an alien, end quote.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't like being lumped in with him.
Why is that? You're not on the Neil deGrasse Tyson train?
He's always a little too pleased with himself. And I know I'm often pleased with myself.
You're
too.
quite pleased with yourself. I think you dig the smell of your own farts.
That's not true.
I think you're going to this a little bit.
Theory, though.
The second theory is that the encounters like the ones shown in these videos perhaps suggest extraterrestrial life. People in this camp claim the videos are just scratching the surface and are grounds for even more research into the topic. Those who come out about their involvement
think
with the
they're
program
dark,
all
eh?
seem to criticize the government and its research or lack thereof. Elizondo states that there were senior officials in the Department of Defense that objected to the program for various reasons. Elizondo explained, quote, in the end, however, I couldn't carry out that mission because the department, which was understandably overstretched, couldn't give it the resources that the mounting evidence deserved, end quote. Christopher Mellon, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence under both Clinton and Bush, cites embarrassment or potential damage to a reputation as a reason for the lack of attention on the issue within the Pentagon. Quote, "Nobody wants to be the alien guy in the national security bureaucracy. Nobody wants to be ridiculed or sidelined for drawing attention to the issue. This is true up and down the chain of command, and it is a serious and recurring impediment to progress," end quote. In the end, the government said the program was shuttered in 2012. However, its existence was not made public until late 2017. That means the program was mostly hidden from public knowledge for 10 years. Spokesperson Thomas Crossan for the Pentagon on the closing of the program, quote, "It was determined that there were other higher priority issues that merited funding, and it was in the best interest of the DoD to make a change," end quote. However, since its official closing, program supporters say officials that worked on the project continued their work in investigations on top of their other assigned tasks in the Defense Department. Elizondo resigned in October 2017 as a protest to the secrecy surrounding the project. Elizondo wrote a resignation letter to Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, in which he described the problems with the government's operation of the program. Quote, "Despite overwhelming evidence at both the classified and unclassified levels, certain individuals in the department remain staunchly opposed to further research on what could be a tactical threat to our pilots, sailors, and soldiers, and perhaps even an existential threat to our national security," end quote. Elizondo entered the private sector to continue the research he wasn't able to further with the government. Quote, "I left to find an environment where investigating these phenomena is priority number one," end quote.
This is typical. You know, in every disaster movie or alien movie or whatever, something along those lines, there is a character in it that everyone thinks is crazy.
Oh, always.
And then everything goes to hell,
Yeah.
and now people are running to this dude for answers, and he's not so crazy. I'm just saying, I know that's a movie, obviously, but it seems that, you know, reality is mimicking fiction here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with a few other people
Life imitating art, as the saying goes.
involved in the program, including Christopher Mellon. Elizondo has gone on to become part of the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science to continue their study of the unexplained. The Academy's president and CEO is Tom DeLonge, formerly of the band Blink-182. The corporation's mission is to look into, quote, exotic science and technologies,
fucking
end
weird.
quote, by blending and utilizing
That's what I
science,
expect.
aerospace, and entertainment. Mellon claims that those involved in the military are approaching To the Stars Academy to investigate more happenings similar to those he's described because of the Department of Defense's poor handling of reported incidents.
Yeah,
It's
they're dropping the
admirable.
ball.
To maybe hang your hat on your belief so strongly and devote this amount of time in research to the aid of everyone else. I'm going to assume he's doing it to aid everyone else, not just to be like, I told you so.
Well,
Maybe
but
a
at the
little
same
bit of
time, these
both.
people probably have fat stacks, right? Blink-182
Yeah, that's
sold
Yeah.
a lot
They
of
sold a
albums.
lot of albums. They had a lot of records.
He's living a cozy life.
What if aliens, this is bringing it back full circle.
Bring it back.
What if aliens are small,
Uh-huh.
like you said before,
I'd still love that.
and Tom DeLonge sings all the small things, and we look back at all the small things, and we see that inside the song is actually a coded message that explains aliens are small things. Let's examine the lyrics after this, but I think we might find a code in here. I think we can national treasure this.
So, do aliens really exist? Despite numerous sightings, it seems that no one can agree on this topic until we get a clear visual, hard evidence, and maybe even a declaration from aliens themselves. The mystery will remain unsolved.
I think most aliens are harmless. Like, they're just like passing on by, seeing what the fuck humans are up to. I mean, I don't think they want to fuck with us after we invented nukes. Like, they're probably checking up on us to see, hey, did the humans destroy themselves or not? Because, honestly, I don't blame them for, like, checking to make sure if we're still alive or not. And I still prefer the aliens. I prefer the alien field trip thing, or an alien safari. I have a couple theories myself, like the alien field trip theory, where it's just like basically a teacher alien and their student aliens passing by Earth as like a field trip, and the alien safari theory, which is where basically aliens look at humans like people look at animals in a zoo or a safari. Or maybe they're just like joyriding and messing around. Like, I think most of them are harmless because they know we got nukes. And I think that there are some violent aliens, but I'm not 100% sure how often they fuck around with humans. Like, they have to go after humans that probably don't matter, or think that they won't matter, or some could just be psychopaths. But there could be, like, intergalactic laws preventing them from doing that, so there's, like, minimal repeat offenders for that or something. I'm honestly getting tired from talking. Later.